forged in Gondolin by the High Elves of the First Age.
In an age of exile and shadow, when the wrath of Morgoth had broken kingdoms and shattered the Noldor to ruin, one elf dreamed of a hidden light. That elf was Turgon, son of Fingolfin, a lord of the Noldor whose heart still longed for the beauty of Valinor. While others raised their blades in open defiance of the Dark Lord, Turgon sought a different kind of strength. It was Ulmo, the Lord of the Waters, who came to him in dream. This valor spoke of a secret valley hidden by encircling mountains, a place where Morgoth's gaze could not reach, a refuge untouched by his corruption. And thou shalt bring to fruition all that thou hast designed, and lo, it shall be the fairest dwelling of any king of the Noldor, and long shall it endure. And there thou shalt bring together the remnant of thy people, and they shall dwell in peace, and no evil shall come near them while thy realm endures. Guided by this vision, Turgon found the hidden valley of Tumladen, a green plain surrounded by encircling mountains that rose like a wall against the world. There he laid the foundations of Gondolin, the hidden rock, and filled it with all the beauty the elves had lost. It was said that Gondolin shone like a vision of Tirion before the darkening of Valinor. White towers, golden domes, and walls of pearl and marble rose beneath the mountain peaks. Its gates were sevenfold, its streets bright with song, and its people believed themselves untouched by shadow. And for many years, they were. From the outside world, Gondolin became only a whisper, a legend carried in the wind. None entered without Turgon's will, and none who found it ever left. The king decreed secrecy above all else. But isolation breeds pride, and pride in Middle-earth always draws the eye of Morgoth. For centuries, Gondolin was a dream made real, the last untouched jewel of the Noldor in a world already swallowed by darkness. Turgon ruled from the king's tower in the heart of the city, surrounded by marble courts and crystal fountains. The light of Gondolin shone with a purity that recalled the blessed realm itself, and many said it was fairer even than Tirion upon Tuna. In the midst of the plain rose the city of white marble, and its walls and its towers were tall and strong and fair. Behind the seven gates of the mountains, Gondolin flourished in secret. Its people, the Gondolindrim, built great houses named for the Valar, and their banners flew in the high winds of Tumladen. The House of the Golden Flower, the House of the Fountain, the House of the White Wing. Each was both a family and a brotherhood of warriors, artisans, and dreamers. In the hidden courts, songs were sung to Elbereth, and the light of the trees was remembered in their craft. To those within, Gondolin was paradise reborn, untouched, unbroken, and, hopefully, eternal. But no city built in Arda could remain so forever. Turgon's decree forbidding any from leaving the valley was born from fear of discovery, and perhaps fear of loss. Yet, in sealing Gondolin from the world, he also sealed it from change. The people forgot that safety without sacrifice became stagnation, and though Morgoth's eye could not yet find the city, his shadow had already begun to creep toward it. For beyond the mountains, in the dark lands of Angband, Morgoth had not forgotten Turgon, nor the Valar who had aided him. He would bide his time. He would let Gondolin grow proud and bright and certain of its safety. And when the moment came, he would strike with all the ruin of the world behind him. The beauty of Gondolin was unmatched, but beneath its white walls, the seeds of its fall were already sown. If Gondolin's walls kept out the armies of Morgoth, they could not keep out envy, and envy would prove to be the truest traitor of all. Far beyond the encircling mountains, in the dark forest of Nan Elmoth, there lived Eärendil, the dark elf. He was kin to the Sindar, but loved the night and shadow more than light. There he dwelt with Eärendil, sister of Turgon, whom he had lured to his halls and taken to wife. Their son was Maeglin, gifted in metalwork like his father and proud like his mother. But he looked westward towards Gondolin, the hidden city he had never seen, and longed to find it. He defied Eärendil's will, fled with Eärendil, and sought refuge with Turgon. When they reached Gondolin, Eärendil followed in wrath, and when Turgon refused to let him leave, Eärendil cast a poisoned spear at Maeglin, but Eärendil leapt before it. and so was slain. For that crime, Eärendil was thrown from the city walls, and as he fell his curse ran out, that Maeglin's doom would be no less than his own. Then Maeglin stood by the king's side and gazed out, and said nothing, but he watched the fall of his father with unflinching eyes. In Gondolin, Maeglin grew powerful, a smith of unmatched skill and one of Turgon's closest counsellors. Yet his heart was never at peace. He loved Idril Celebrimbor, Turgon's daughter, whose grace was beyond his reach. When Tuor, a mortal man sent by Ulmo, came to Gondolin and won Idril's heart, Maeglin's envy became despair. Still, his true fall came years later. While seeking ore in the mountains beyond the city, Maeglin was captured by orcs. He pleaded with them to take him before Morgoth rather than slay him. There, in the Dark Lord's shadowed halls, his courage would break. Morgoth promised him his life with Idril's love if he revealed Gondolin's location. So, out of both fear and desire, Maeglin agreed. And Maeglin, being in dread, betrayed the location of the city. When he returned, he spoke nothing of what had passed, but the fate of Gondolin had already been sealed. Long years passed after Maeglin's betrayal. Gondolin remained at peace, its people believing themselves safe, even as Morgoth's armies gathered in the north. Then, on the festival of the Gates of Summer, the end came. The people of Gondolin had risen before dawn to greet the sunrise, but instead of light in the east, they saw fire in the north. The mountains shook, the plains of Tumladen burned, and over the peaks poured the hosts of Morgoth, dragons, balrogs, wolves, and countless orcs. There came over the mountains a great noise, and the fire of the dragons kindled the plain, and the city was encircled by fire. The seven gates fell one by one, the white city turned red, balrogs and dragons broke the walls, and the fair streets of Gondolin became rivers of flame. In the chaos Maeglin struck, seizing Idril and trying to throw her child, Eärendil, from the walls. Tuor came upon him, and they fought amidst the smoke and ruin. And Tuor took Maeglin by the neck and cast him from the walls, and he fell to his death amid the flames below. Elsewhere, the lords of the 12 houses fell one by one. Ecthelion of the Fountain slew Gothmog, lord of Balrogs, in the king's square, with both perishing in the fountain's depths. They fell together into the king's fountain, and both were slain. Within the tower of the king, Turgon refused to flee. He stood fast until the tower fell, and with it, the last High King of Gondolin. And mighty was its fall, and the fall of Turgon in its ruin. Tuor and Idril gathered the survivors and led them into the hidden passage Idril had prepared long before, a narrow tunnel beneath the mountains that opened far from the plain. But even there, Morgoth's reach found them. At Cirith Thorenath, the eagles descended to drive off pursuing orcs, while Glorfindel, lord of the Golden Flower, faced a Balrog alone upon the high pass. He fought with the Balrog upon a pinnacle of rock, and they both fell into the abyss. The eagles recovered his body, bearing it with honour from the heights. By dawn, Gondolin was no more. The valley burned behind them, and the light of Turgon's city was lost forever. But hope had escaped the fire, carried in the arms of Idril and Tuor, and in the eyes of their son. The survivors fled south through shadowed valleys and silent woods until they came to the mouths of Sirion, where other exiles of Beleriand had gathered. There by the sea they built new homes, fragile but free. Eärendil grew to manhood among the waves, always gazing west toward a light he could not reach. Eärendil was a mariner that tarried in Arvernian. He built a ship of great lightness, and he was borne ever upon the sea. He would one day sail beyond the world itself to beg the Valar for mercy, a plea that would end Morgoth's dominion and bring about the War of Wrath. So Gondolin's fall was not its end. Through its ruin, the world was actually saved. The blood of Gondolin flowed into two great lines, through Elrond, who would heal Middle-earth, and through Alros, who had found Númenor. From their descendants would come Aragorn, the last of that same bloodline, the legacy of Turgon's hidden hope. The city was lost, but its light endured in the hearts of those who carried its memory. The Fall of Gondolin was Tolkien's first great tale, the prototype of every tragedy he would ever write. He penned it in the wake of the First World War, haunted by the fire and the ruin of modern battle. Gondolin's towers were born from his memories of cities burning, its dragons from the smoke and machines that filled his sky. But like all of Tolkien's tragedies, it is not a story of despair. It is about endurance. For of the fall of Gondolin came the escape of Eärendil, and through Eärendil came the hope of elves and men. From destruction came renewal. From betrayal came redemption. From the ashes of the hidden city rose the light that would guide every age to come. Gondolin fell, but through its fall the music of the Ainur played on, deeper, sadder, and more beautiful than before. So there we have it. What actually is the Fall of Gondolin? Well, Gondolin was a hidden city with walls that would fall, but with light that would endure. From its ashes came Eärendil's star, the hope of all who lived after. Through its ruin the world was remade, for even in defeat the fire of the First Age lit the way for every age that followed. Gondolin's fall reminds us that in Tolkien's world, loss is never the end, only the beginning of renewal. But now it is your turn. Do you think Gondolin could have ever survived, or was it always doomed to fall? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section down below. And along with that, if you would like to support the channel in other ways, please consider our Patreon. It would really help us out in that up and down world of YouTube. But with that, thank you for spending just some of your time with me today, and I will see you next time on The Broken Sword.